Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing well. So this is the third update for my Project 10 book. I did my last update back in April, so you probably think I abandoned this project. I kind of honestly did for a while, but I just really wasn't reading, especially this summer I wasn't reading. But recently I've gotten back into it, so I do have an actual update to share with you. So I'll do that. So previously from this project I have 13 books and I wanted to finish 10 of them. So previously I had finished 6, so I'll just quickly go over those. I'd finished the Rosie project, Pretty Baby, Winter Town, The Boston Girl, Say Anything, and finally I had finished The Last Anniversary. So, you know, I was going along pretty well with this project, and as I said, I really just didn't read, especially over this summer. But over the last, I don't know how many months has that been, after the last several months, I have finished a few books. So I'll share those with you now. So firstly I finished Carry On by Rowell. This one I actually finished quite a few months ago, but I just didn't really do an update because I really didn't, I don't know, I kind of just forgot about this project honestly and really wasn't super into reading, as I've said. But I did finish this one several months ago. This one, if you read Fangirl by this author, this is kind of based on that book. So in Fangirl, this girl writes fan fiction for the Simon Snow series, which is sort of a I guess fictionalized version of Harry Potter sort of thing. It's a similar sort of like boy goes to school, he's like a wizard type of thing. So she wrote fan fiction in that book. So this is Rowell's Simon Snow story. So it's not the canon book that the character in Fangirl's writing from. It's not her version of fanfic. It's Rowell's version of this story. So it's kind of an interesting concept. I did really enjoy it. It's definitely, if you like that sort of Harry Potter thing, it's very similar to that. It's definitely not just like a ripoff of Harry Potter. It definitely has its own like story that's really interesting. So I did really enjoy this, and yeah, so I read that when did I read this? I want to say, I don't know, probably early summer I read this. And then recently I finished 2 additional books. The first being The Sky is Everywhere. This is by Jandy Nelson. Now this book I've been reading, I think, since at least May. It could have even been since like April, since my last update. Like, this took me forever to finish. And, you know, by the time I actually finished it and really got into it, it was really good. I don't know what it was. I just think, you know, some books you can read and get through like really quick. Like, you can turn the pages really quick, and like, I don't know, it's just like super easy to read almost. Not that this didn't like catch my attention. This one just, you know, you kind of read it a little slower. It's like not something you necessarily like rush through. The beginnings of a lot of the chapters were like poems. And at the back of the book, the author does like the little author interview, question and answer type of thing. So she said originally she was picturing this as like a book of like poetry. So I definitely feel that influence. She turned it into actual novel, but I do kind of feel that sort of vibe of this book. So I think that's why you kind of, it feels like you should read it a little bit slower and like savor every little part of it. But this is about a girl in high school. She recently lost her sister. Her sister died very suddenly. And it's about this girl kind of dealing with her grief. At the same time, she is having a relationship with these 2 different boys. One is the boyfriend of her sister, so she has a lot of guilt over that, but they both can kind of bond over their kind of grief. And there's also a new boy at school who they kind of bond. They're both like musicians. So anyway, it was really good, and once I got into it, I really did enjoy it. So finished that one up recently. And then the other book that I read recently, this is Lady Almina and the Real Downton Abbey. And this one, I think I got last year. It was like my I got it from a friend, but I do like Downton Abbey, so this was about kind of the real life influence for Lady Cora, and it's just really interesting. So it's about the Highclere Castle, which is what they use for like the exterior shots of like Downton Abbey. But anyway, it's really interesting if you like, these sort of like historical books is really good, and there's lots of different pictures inside, and it just kind of talks about her life and her life living in the castle, and I don't know, I just found it really interesting, so I'm really glad that I finally did read this, because I did really enjoy this. So, at this point, for my Project 10 books, I have finished 9 books. I have 4 more books in this project, so once I finish one more of these, this project will be finished. I just like to have a few things to kind of pick through. So definitely I'll be doing hopefully another update like in next month, and this project can be officially finished. I am still committed to finishing the project, so 1 book more to go to finish off this project. So one other thing I wanted to mention, so I was supposed to be doing a no-buy for this project, and since it just took so long, and you know, there were certain books that I was interested in getting. I did buy some books in the meantime, so I didn't really make it through this project without doing the no-buy. But honestly, I think getting some new books really helped me to start to want to read again, because I was kind of, you know, I just had this kind of few books, like these few books, and I don't know, I just wasn't super interested in reading them. So I just think, you know, really what I want to do versus just getting through these books is more just to read, and if I need to get some new things to kind of spark that interest again, I mean, that's what I kind of had to do. But I will quickly share with you the new books that I got, and a few of them that I have read. So firstly, Modern Lovers by Emma Straub. This one takes place in Brooklyn. It's about these 2 different families. The parents, when they were in college, they were in this band together, and now they're older and they have children of their own. So it's just sort of the relationships between the families, you know, between the individual family units and the 2 different families, the relationships between them. It was just really interesting. I really liked it. It's definitely a good sort of summer read, I would say. It's not super like fluffy, like type book. I mean, it did have some kind of heavy topics that it covered, but it definitely wasn't like too dark or anything. I did really enjoy this one, and I will have to say, even though you shouldn't judge a book by the cover of this is just super cute with the little like people. I really like the cover design of it. Anyway, the next book I got is Sweetbitter by Stephanie Danler, and this one I recently finished as well. So this is about a young girl. She's like her early 20s, and she's recently moved to New York City, and she gets a job as a waitress, and this just sort of talks about her working in this restaurant. It's sort of like a high-end restaurant, and it just sort of talks about that experience. And I really enjoy this. I know the reviews on Amazon are kind of mixed. It didn't get the best reviews. I think it has like 3 stars maybe. But I liked it for what it is. It just is has lots of like kind of imagery, and you can really picture in this sort of restaurant world. And I don't know, I enjoyed it. It might not be for everyone. Like the characters aren't necessarily like the most likable, like best type of people, but I just enjoyed kind of the like world it created, and you could just kind of really imagine yourself like in that world. So I really liked it, and I don't know, it was interesting. And then I have 4 more books. I haven't read these. I'll just quickly share with you. I have The Girls by Emma Cline. This takes place in Northern California in the 60s, and it's supposed to be about like these girls that join like this cult. So I don't know, it seems kind of interesting. This one, What Remains of Me by Alison Gaylin. This is about a girl who, I think she lives like in Hollywood, and when she's like in high school, she's like accused of murder. She ends up in prison, I think for like 30 years, and then she's released, and then I think she's like accused of another murder when she's released. So just interesting. I like the kind of, like, I'm into the whole like true crime thing. So this is sort of like a fictional sort of version of that, I'm thinking. So we'll be really excited to read that. Then I have Don't You Cry by Mary Kubica. So early in the year I had read Pretty Baby. I've read a few other books by this author, but she's just one of those authors that like every time she comes out with something I just want it, because I know that I really like her books. She does a lot of like psychological thrillers and a lot with like female characters. So I don't even know what this is about, but I got it because of the author. And something interesting, I didn't know when I was ordering it, but this book was actually signed by the author. It has a little sticker, and I was like, what is that? And it actually has her signature, so I thought that was kind of cool. And then finally, I got The Rosey Effect. This is the sequel. I previously read The Rosie Project, so this is the sequel to that. So super excited about some of the new books that I have, and it definitely, as I said, you know, unfortunately I didn't get to do or didn't get through the project with doing the no buy successfully, but honestly, if these new books will just keep me interested in reading, I think it's worth it. Because at the end of the day, I'd rather be reading than have like a few books and not be reading, if that makes sense. So anyway, that is my update. I hope to have my finale video within the next month. But yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.